Oh, easy listening. Just a little bit of something to pass the time. The Easy Rider. Oh, here we go. Got the little country thing going on. I'll probably let this run through because I like this song. And I can make fun of it too. Well, I remember, because I remember when I was young. All the little pretty things were around. Yeah, that's right, Arch. Now I'm so much older. And so I'm all alone. Oh, you're making me cry, Arch. All the little pretty things have come and gone. And now I'm sitting here all alone, smoking my cigarettes, hanging out with the fellas, just chatting away, showing and talking about cool engine stuff. And I don't have to hack it with the Phillies anymore. Yeehaw! All right, I'm coming in a minute. I gotta finish putting my makeup on. That's a good song. A little bit of steel guitar in there. Coming to you live from New York, Long Island, WAB, bat shitty crazy, Arch's Garage. In the studio tonight, we got a special guest. There's Lewis. Brother Lewis is with us tonight. Bringing down some heavy thoughts. Stand by. Yeah, this one's stuck. Hold on, let me make it stop. Oh, I see. You have to cancel that one out. Oh, it's been a while since I've been doing this. Yeah, let me come into this one real quick, because I always like this one. Yeah, you have to cancel the other one. It's down on my list, that's why. It's down too far. There we go. I always screw something up. You know, you gotta make it happen. Get you some of this. It's springtime, so we gotta put the spring on. Nothing like making the springs, fellas. Making the springs happen. They gotta come from somewhere. Just feeding my face. Couple minutes. Oh, getting hot in here. Coming in for a landing. Put your seatbelts on. Please put your trays in the upright position. Stick your face down between your knees. Kiss your ass goodbye. Oh, let's see. So I'm trying out a new switch. So I added an extra signal path into my OBS. So if I don't touch the switch over here, the manual switch, leave the mic on, when I transfer between scenes, it will shut this mic off briefly to a default. The scene will come up, whatever it is I want to show you. And then I have to manually click on or off over here. So I don't have to touch this one. I'm not sure if I like that. It's different. I just screwed up a little bit on the intro. But, you know, things just wouldn't be the same if I didn't screw up. So I'm still a little bit in the red. Let me pull this down, because on this new sound card, this mic is hot. And one of the neat things about a mic like this is, which you don't usually get, is kind of up high and out the way. Or a lot of the mics that people use for live shows, they have to be right up on top of them. And it's nice because if there's any noise around or anything, it won't hear that. But then you got to have the mic rack right on top of you all the time. And, you know, that's kind of crappy. So in a way, I kind of like this mic. And if I can get the gain right without it over-modulating, should just tickle the red. That way, when I can lean back and enjoy the show, because when you guys are chatting, right, I don't want to read it, whatever, and I can move around. I don't have to be right on top of the mic. So I want to say, everybody, TJ, yeah, I made a show for you. It was a segment for the snowblower I was telling you about. And that was, so last week I didn't do a show. The week before that, it wasn't on that show. It was on the week before. So we're looking, 3 weeks ago, right? And it was towards the middle to end. You'll see it. Whenever the red snowblower comes up in that show, I went through it and I showed everybody. And essentially what I did was I just showed you the starting sequence. Basically same machine, a little bit newer, but it had the same kind of Tecumseh engine and everything, and I showed the choke and all of that, and I was getting ready to put it away. There's no place to put it. I just put it, nobody wanted to buy it, so I was complaining about that. So I put it outside, and it just stayed out there. Ooh, we got lightning. So if I suddenly disappear, we got another storm coming through. Hopefully everybody's doing okay. So up here in New York, probably over in Connecticut, if Ken's around. You know, we're just seeing lightning right now, and the rain just started, and I heard a little bit of rumbling, but yeah, that's it. Yep, it's getting a little closer. So let's see. So Jamie O, good evening to all. Lewis says, hello, brother Arch and everyone. Johnny Bravo says, hey, Arch. Lewis and TJ and all. He goes, what was the video about? So, so the video was about the snowblower. So check that out when you get a chance. Or you can just leave now and go check it out. It doesn't matter to me, really, but I'd rather have you here. Bravo says, happy Saturday night. Let's see. Weird how they sync the cameras with the RPMs of that lathe. What lathe? What was going on? Did I miss something? What are you cutting something on the lathe? Is it one of Lewis's new videos? What's happening? Fill me in, fellas. You wouldn't want a mic to hide your extremely distinguished face. Yes, yeah, with my Roman nose. It's Roman all over my face, right? So Jimmy goes, yeah, absolutely. Mitch, hey, Mitch, he goes, hello, Arch. John Rose says, you got the weather tonight. Not us for a change. Spent the day out on my motorcycle. Oh, nice. Very nice. Yeah, we had some weather today. It's been really nice all week. Windy, though, at times, but I would say nice overall. I've been enjoying it. Even when it gets rainy and cold, it's not cold enough this time of year. Let me take this off. We'll come back to this in a minute. But yeah, I kind of sync the mic to the ATEM, to the cameras through, if I'm using two cameras or whatever, but it's through the camera switcher that handles the audio now. And I got the audio coming through to this headset, which doesn't have a mic, so it's not being confused there. And that sounds pretty good. It's lightweight. And I just started kind of plugging some stuff in. I haven't had the chance to really play my guitar or noodle around with that. But I did buy some super slinky springs for my guitar. I bought some springs for my guitar. So these are, what are they? Because that thing needs it. First of all, I haven't been playing, so the heaviest strings are too heavy for me again, right? Because those are 10s. The first one is 10,000ths of an inch, and the last one's like 46 or something. It's huge. So they're like road cables, and I don't have the calluses on my fingers. So this one starts off, it goes 9, 11, 16, 24, 32, and 42. That's 009 for the first one. So that's a nice, nickel wound guitar strings, made in US of A. And it's a 3-pack too, so it's nice. So I got plenty of these. And eventually I want to fix my acoustic. I don't know when. I got so much stuff going on. I wanted to fill you guys in on what is going on. So let's see. We're going to tie in with what's going on tonight. So tonight, where am I? So I was checking out a little bit of Ken's show today, but I was busy and doing stuff, and I had to do something for the X. So Klaus's convo with Pate, I thought that was very good. If anybody saw it or didn't see it, you might want to check it out. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, because I always got to have my take on something, right? Because I got to put my 2 cents in. And Ken's probably going, why don't you just come up on your show? No, because nobody wants me there, believe me. And I want to talk also a little bit about the AfterMarket Carb thing and the ACR thing. So the AfterMarket Carbs, I'm working on a video about AfterMarket Carbs. And I bought a bunch of AfterMarket Carbs, and in this case, they are for Tecumseh engines. But the story is the same for no matter, what AfterMarket Carb you got. I got them from 3 different companies. Sometimes they just look like the same manufacturer, and I want to start looking into who's making them somewhere in probably Shenzhen, China, and maybe 2 companies, maybe 1. It could even be 1 company, but that company is making them to different standards. Lesser quality, more quality, stricter. And then when these companies put together their kits, sometimes the kits can be very useful because they might give you some clamps, a spark plug, maybe some fuel line, a filter, a different assortment of gaskets, which I think is nice. I wanted to show you some stuff on that. I've been working on a video, and it's funny because Big Mike hit me up today because he had bought this gigantic chipper, mulcher, shredder, blower, I don't know. And he bought an AfterMarket Carb, and he said, I bought an AfterMarket Carb from Amazon. It sucks, and it's not working, and you want the thing? I'm like, yeah, bring it over. That's kind of what I'm saying. That's the kind of stuff I hear a lot. And of course, if the carb is in good shape, because I've even had like one from HIPAA that I showed last year. I'm going to show it again this year. I had a problem with it. The choke was not properly lined up with. A lot of these things have like a little spring tang, and the choke kind of leans up against it. It's got a detent and it's notched. Well, that spring tang was not drilled and bored or cast close enough to the lever, and it wasn't engaging. And when I was running it on my pressure washer was stalling. And then I would look over at it, I'm like, whoa, the choke is swinging on. So it's bogging out, because I saw black smoke, and I took a look at it. I'm like, this thing, eventually the vibrations, and then it would just swing, it would kind of free swing, and the engine would suck the choke closed, and it would stall. So I told them about it, and they fixed it, and I got another one recently. It's been sitting here for a few months. I put it on, and it looks very nice. It's very heavy. It looks like they solved some of the issues. So, it could be that there maybe is two manufacturers, but this is the kind of thing I want to look into. But for the average consumer, I got people that hit me up and go, Arch, I just put a carburetor on, and it's still they think it's lean. It could be. I don't know. I got to take their word for it. It's still missing and what have you. So I had something very similar just happen again, because then I'll show you the Mania for Tecumseh engines and everything. I'll show you that in a little bit. So I'm going through all of this motors and everything, and I'm setting up these nice green, Eager ones. I got a whole bunch of them. Those videos are going to be coming out. And I have some carburetors, but those are old motors. And the way they sit, the water and everything gets into them, and they rot out. And of course, even if they're in good shape, they all need to be rebuilt. So I'm having some other issues as well, getting parts. And so we're going to talk about that in a little bit, just to kind of cover it over. So I already hit a lot of it now. And then the whole ACR extravaganza, because Ken had put out a video or a couple of videos on that ACR issue with, it was like a Skag or whatever that machine was. And I had a conversation with him and many others, and including one of my customers who's got a machine that it's got a bad ACR. I showed it on a video that I released. I did, was it a Briggs motor? I think it was a Briggs motor. And I went through the valves, and I showed that this thing's an ACR problem. You can't pull it. I showed him how to start it, how to get it past the compression event, just past, and make sure it's all choked up, and, maybe even spray a little starting fluid in there, and then just give it a pull, and it starts right away. And these are big guys, right? The contractors, like, you could pull this thing over. But we were talking about, what do you do with it? What do you do with it? You can take the whole motor apart. And even Ken, I think it mentioned in the first video that he did, is like, it's starting to leak. It's getting older. These are contractor machines. How many hours are on it? So we might get into that, a little bit of that conversation in a bit. So I want you guys to think about that, and if you have anything to say about it. But I want to talk a bit about that. So the ACR, the aftermarket carb issue. And then I'm going through all of these Tecumseh motors, primarily, but also some Briggs, but mostly Tecumseh, because I've been ignoring them. And I've been ignoring some of these Eager ones. I want one for myself, so I wanted to show you a bit about what I was doing with that as part of the updates. I just kind of wanted to cover that. And I've been ignoring them. I just kind of focused on Honda, and then I was focusing a lot on Briggs and Stratton, and depending upon what comes in, it was some of the bigger Briggs motors. And this leads me back to the other issue of, when a lot of these smaller lawn tractors with the 16 and 17.5 horsepower engines, if they're in really mint shape with the bagger on the back, you can get 800-900 around here. You can ask it. You'll probably get close to it around here. I don't know about where you guys are. Once that motor goes and you don't have the bag on the back, the discharge box, 500, 600 in good shape, the motor has to come apart because of an ACR, all bets are off. Especially on some of the slightly newer box store. I mean, the older Craftsmans, especially the green ones, people like those. I like them. I still want to keep one and make one. Problem comes now is they've been making such junk for so long that you almost can't even fix it. So we'll get to that in a bit. And a couple of the things we're going to get to, I want to bring you guys up. I want to see you guys real quick. and see what you're up to, see if there's anything going on. Let's see. Turn this thing off for a second, and then let me just detach. Let's see. Go to that. I gotta move you around a little bit. Where did you guys go? I got that. Let's see. Where did I put you? Hold on. Did I put you over here? Yeah. I want you over here. I put you on the other monitor. Let's detach this. Pop out chat. There we go. Let's see. Split screen chat. Transition it. I have to come over a little bit. I really need to adjust that camera a little bit. Turn this thing out of the way, because that light flickers. I don't want you seeing it. Shut it off? Yeah, we could shut it off. I don't need it. Let's see. So you got the weather tonight. Yeah, not us for a change. Spent the day out on a motorcycle. That must have been so nice. And Bravo says, I've had a reasonably good luck with the AM carbs. One of my mowers, one weed eater, and two of our ATVs needed jetting, but they worked for me so far. Yes, and that's the kind of thing that I'm going to be talking about when I, a little bit tonight, but mostly on the video when I release it, which is there. Just because you bought like a newer aftermarket carburetor doesn't mean you can put it on and walk away. And I think a lot of people, homeowners, whatever, they're thinking that's going to be the solution to their problem. And I've definitely got a whole bunch of people, commenting on different videos, even videos that have nothing to do with a carburetor. They're like, I just bought one and it's not working, it's still lean, and they think that that's really the solution. And I don't see a lot of people that talk about it, that you have to jet it. And what was interesting on this Tecumseh Resurrection, I went through all of these carburetors that I bought, and they're all jetted differently for the same engine series. They're jetted differently, and they're off by a few thousandths of an inch, plus or minus. So you might get lucky and put one on, and it will work. Or in my case, I put like a more factory style jet. I rebuilt a carburetor with proper parts, and it was too fat. It was too much for the engine. And then it started to foul. And I pulled the plug and I showed it. And it was too dark. It was getting carbonized. And it ran okay, but I could hear it. And you could kind of see it. It was starting to lumber a bit. Still making RPM and everything. But if I had sold that, given it back to a customer, it would have fouled that plug. And they would have been annoyed. Well, I think my daughter's getting a dog out. He hasn't been out all day. He's been in his cage. He's getting tired. I tried to get him out the other day, and he would not go out for me. He was growling, like kicking his, just nudging his butt. He's growling, making noises, and showing his teeth. He's old. He's getting cranky. So they think that's going to be the end of it. But in the case that I ran into just recently, is like usually as the motors get older, the slightly newer motors, they need to be drilled out. Factory carbs. The motors don't run as well. They may need a little bit more fuel. This is actually in the other direction. And I went through all the carbs and I found different jet sizes. And of course, they're not going to tell you this. And even if they gave you a spec on it, the average person is not going to know what the hell that means. And so if you compare that to trying to get a factory like OEM carburetor, well, in the case of Tecumseh, I don't know where you're going to get an OEM carburetor other than to get one that is in the box that's new old stock or good old stock. But I measured all of my OEM carburetors, and they were a little bit too big for this motor. The motor didn't want it. So I want to show a little bit about that. Now, before we move forward, hold on. Let's see here. The split screen chat. I just have to transition back. Bravo goes, what I learned back when is the aftermarket cars are jetted to meet California restrictions and they run too lean. And really, as time went on, and this is what I'm going to get into in the video that I make, all engines and carburetors were made like this. And as time went on, that was the problem. And so the motors ran okay when they were brand new, but as soon as they got some age on them, things changed a little bit. Age, maybe a bit of abuse, hours. You had to drill them out. You had to even drill out even the factory stuff. If you were revamping an engine or a lawnmower or a piece of equipment, and you were going over the whole thing and sort of respecking it out, you might have found that, oh crap, this thing is just, she does not want to run right, and everything is whistle clean, but it's just the engines were older because initially they were jetted too lean. But when you go back in time, especially to some of these earlier Tecumseh engines that I'm fooling around with, they're not like that. They're just after, right before the vintage of this series of engines that I've been collecting. Right before that, most of these carburetors would have had full adjusters on them. Remember, like underneath on the main jet, you can tweak the adjuster, and on the idle jet, you put your screwdriver in. Briggs was like that as well. So right after that disappeared was the first implementation of trying to do restrictions. So really, the first thing that CARB, California Air Restriction, whatever the hell it is, the first things that they were doing was saying you need to preset these engines for a specific area and cap it and lock it, and no one can change it. And what you started to see with the little caps, that in the case of like weed whackers and a few other things, they put those little caps that you could get maybe an eighth of a turn or a quarter turn on. That was like a teaser. I was like, that's not going to do anything, right? But they were like, yeah, just cap it, and you can only swing it a little bit. What a horror. Let's see. Somebody says, hey, John, he goes, did you sell any machines? Yes, actually I did. And I sold a couple of machines. I've got to get back to work on some repairs. And I got one on the table, which I'll show you guys in a minute, that needs the carb tweaked a little bit. One more time in order for it to be proper so I can send it out. So let's back up. Let's see, where am I? I'm going to back up for a minute. Yeah, let me turn this off. So I'm watching a little bit of Ken's today, and so Klaus, I got to get to Klaus, which, Klaus was so funny. He was talking to Pate, and I think one of them said, didn't we have this conversation before? Yeah, it was had a number of times. So I get a kick out of it. Let's see, really recording. We can shut that off. I want to make sure that's off. That's 810. That's fine. Yeah, recording. Yeah, that's all correct. Of course, I just have to take us back to just for a minute.
Klaus will take you.
I am Klaus. I am Klaus. I am Klaus.
I love it. I can't help myself, because every time I think of Klaus, that's what I think of. So they're going back and forth, and you can tell Pate's not listening. Right? Everything Klaus said, I have to agree with. I don't always agree with Klaus, but, I got to agree with Klaus on this one. And the other fellows are trying to, chime in a little bit. And he's just going on and on and on. He's trying to, justify, and he's getting all into this with... You don't get into it with customers like that. I talk to customers, but it's not usually, And I think I wrote in no is an answer. Yeah, you can say no to stuff. I went through this with my old partner. He would go on and on and on with some of these customers, and I would tap the crystal of my watch, right? Because it's time. What are you doing? I need you. We need to do stuff. You're milking it. You're milking everything here. No isn't, and even with the bosses or whatever, or the customer be like, I need it now. I need it. No! How about no? Okay? Here's an answer. No, you can't have it now or tomorrow or whatever. It doesn't work like that. You can't have everything fast, cheap, and with great quality, right? You can have one. You can have really good quality, but you're not going to get it cheap and you're not going to get it right away, right? You got to pick one. And I just don't get into it, these customers. And he gets himself into trouble, and he does it to himself, and he just hasn't learned. And I see this too with like some of these people that comment on my videos, and I'm sure some of you that have your channels, right? They'll say, I mean, you put together a 20-minute or a half hour, and sometimes me 45-minute video, and I do have to leave some things out. Otherwise, it would be an hour 45-minute video. But you go through, you take your time, and you explain something, and then it goes shoot right over somebody's head. And then they write in or they say something to you, and you're like thinking to yourself, oh my God, bro, did you hear? I'm talking to myself. I know what I am. Did you hear anything I said? Did you watch anything I did? Or did you just fast forward? People get these things inside their own head. And I found something that at this point now, right, I realize this is how I feel. And when I saw this, I was like, oh, This is me right here. Hold on. This is how I feel.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
It's so true. Everyone, it's like when you feel after all of that, I was like, and finally I actually like clicked off. I had other stuff to do. I'm like, I can't listen to this conversation. It was a good conversation, and if you want to deal with customers or maybe want to get into doing small engines or any small business or whatever, working for yourself, being entrepreneurial, that conversation had a lot of merit, but he wasn't listening. And it's like, I actually felt like, well, now everybody else in that room now is just dumber for having to go through this. And I feel like that sometimes. Like, I've been around other people where I'm like, I can't believe what they're saying. And it makes absolutely no effing sense. You're in a circular argument. You're caught in it. They've sucked you in. And customers, by the way, will do that to you. They'll suck you in. They'll bait you in. And I don't even do that. It's like these people, when I go to sell stuff, like even right now, I'm trying to sell Big Mike says, you want this Velky thing? Sell it. Put it towards, whatever I owe you, whatever. I can't sell it. Is it still available? Is it still available? Is it still? I want to buy it. Can I come tomorrow? I'm like, I just click the thumbs up button. I don't even answer them, right? I don't answer them. Oh, I want to buy it tomorrow. One guy was like, will you take 65? I just don't have a lot of money. I'm like, me either, brother. I'm like, all right, 65. I'm like, but let me think about it. I'll let you know tomorrow. Oh, please let me know. I really need it. I just don't have a lot of money. I'm like, the next day comes. I'm like, yeah, all right, brother, you can come and pick it up. Crickets. Like, it's like they're lonely, and they don't know what to do with themselves. They're sitting here on this stupid phone, going like this, like they're insane. That's like it's all you see. They're programmed. They're just doing this. Fellas, if you're like that with your phone, put it fucking down. Turn me off. Put it down. Go do something. Go bowling, right? Go bowling at night. I bet you there's something going on right now. You can just go bowling. Do something nice. Shut that effing thing off. Stop getting involved in this circular bullshit logic. It's horrible. It's like, yeah, if you see it I see this a lot in these ads. They're like, if it's still for sale, right? It's still available. If you see the ad up, stop effing asking me, is it available? 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 Delete, 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 delete. Yeah, come and pick it up. Or all right, like, yeah, make an appointment. Crickets. Make an appointment. Crickets. Delete. Make an appointment. Crickets. Delete. Make an appointment. Crickets. Delete. Constant. Every time I go to sell something. So when it comes to customers, talk about sports. Talk about the weather. Don't even tell them what's in your head or what you might do, or maybe you'll take less or you give discounts. There's no philosophy other than, here's the thing, I'm done with it. This is what I do. Like, I do the same thing with every machine. This is what it basically costs. I'll give you, maybe on like a project for Mike or these restorations, I'll give you a not to exceed number. I won't go above that. All right, I'll do my best. And like Klaus was saying, like if it's starting to get, a little pricey, I'll stop. I'm going to call you. If I find something he's like, I don't know, maybe you killed the motor. Yeah, exactly. These people are asking me on YouTube. They're like, well, I put a carburetor, but it's still not running right. I don't know. Did you put the right carburetor on? Did you put it on with all the gaskets? Because I've seen that. People leave gaskets off. Or they put the gaskets all on the one side and nothing on the other side. Did you check for timing or spark issues? Did you clean it? Do you have the safeties on? I have seen the hokiest crap. I'm like, bro, and by the way, the video is not even about carburetors, and you're asking me about a carburetor. The video is nothing about that. I'm like, go get a mechanic. If you can't do it from like the shows that you watch more of these shows, right? Go to the next guy and watch his shows. I don't want to do that. That's going to take me time. You don't even get involved. You're like, bro, I can fix your machine. This is what it's going to cost. On the best of days, this is a repair. It's not a tune-up. It's not a service. Those are all separate things. Does it run? Oh, can you service my machine? Yeah, I can service your machine. Well, how much for the service? Does it run? No. Well, then it's a repair. It's not a service. I can do the service after the repair. The one lady, she hit me up the other day. I was selling a really nice machine for $120. That one of the push machines. I think it was that green one I just did. Will you take like 100? No. Okay, next. For $20, you can't even get a tune-up across the street for $120. I'm giving you a whole entire beautiful machine. I don't want you. You're not a customer. And I don't have any problems with people that are not customers. Because if you don't buy anything from me, you're not a customer. And if I don't know who you are, you're not a friend. And if I'm not married, if you're not in my family, you're not a family member. And if you're not my neighbor, you're not my neighbor. You're nobody to me. So I don't, no, I'm not going to bend over, show you my hiney and no, you ain't getting that. Go away. I've kicked people out. I just don't deal with them. Like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. It's not going to happen. You're not going to see that happen. All right, let me come back to you guys. Let me click the split screen chat. I like this now. I'm getting used to it again. Like, just it's always a click away. Let's see. Let me catch up. So yes, I sold some machines. Lewis goes, I missed Kenny's show today. Yeah, he was fooling. He's been fooling around. I think a saw or something. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to that. And somebody goes, I love that movie. And he goes, Bonya, very Bonya. So he goes, hey, Arch and all. Brett goes, I was on Kent's maybe 5 minutes, then lost interest, so I took a nap. Yeah, because it was a little slow pace. That's going to happen. You can't help that. And that was a sort of a long circular conversation. But listen, he's younger, and a lot of us are older, and we have the experience, and you know how we get around the youngins. Because Bete's still younger than all of us. He is. So he's like, to us, he's like the youngin. You got to help him, right? Same kind of thing. You know how it goes. It's what you do. It's what you do. And if people think and there were people chiming in, they were giving advice and whatever, and in the chat box window and everything, there were people trying to help out. So you try to help the youngins out. Remember when some of us, there's a couple of us that are still kind of young, but remember most of us, like, you remember when we were young fellas, you remember? Oh, so foolish, full of piss and vinegar. It was nice. But, then the other side of it, too, is there's other issues with being young. He goes, hey, brother Brock, Roxy meows, too. He goes, I know, Brett, Lewis goes, I know how you feel, Arch. Yeah. Brett says, that's how I feel with stupid people in general. He goes, I want to tell him, you're the weakest link. Goodbye. Oh, no, but you can't, and if you're a Christian, you're not supposed to be like that. So you got to be patient. You have to be kind, and it's easier on you too. So don't let them occupy real estate in your head or in your heart. And you try to be helpful. But some people are sneaky. I had somebody here that was, I don't want to get into that one, but they were not nice. And they'll try and screw you. And there's Robert AZ. He goes, hello from Denver Airport. Oh, he's in the Denver coming in, landing soon. Hopefully everything's screwed on right, nothing goes wrong. All the crap that's been happening lately. And he goes, Mr. Somebody, he goes, you got any cool cars to work on? Yes, no, just a van. I can't afford the cars anymore. I missed them. Bravo goes, crap, Arch. When I was young, when I was you guys' age, I was out drinking beer and chasing skirt. Yeah, chasing tail, right? Yeah, our age. Yeah, our age, 50s and 60s. Yeah, good luck with that. I'm not chasing any tail anymore. I'm sick of that. Right? And they're not chasing me either because I'm not young and they're not looking for this. Right? They ain't looking for this anymore. You know, Boneyard goes, yes, we were. Yeah. But I wish, I had some more cars to work on. I'm kind of hoping and praying that maybe I'll get back into it. But it is a lot of work. Cars are big. And they're very expensive. And boy, I'll tell you, it breaks my heart. Like, of course I miss my Nova and everything, but when I look around, there are a couple of good deals, but a lot of this stuff that I like, it's just gotten older, and it's at the point now where that stuff is very, very expensive. I don't want some rusty piece of crap. And my friend from North Carolina, he shows me because he's into the T-Birds, like the early 60s T-Birds. And they're around. They're around and they're reasonably priced. He's like, but you need to buy something to bring it home that is worth fooling around with is at least $5,000. Kind of like I showed you guys a while back, that 55 Ford with the Y block in it. And it was in pretty good shape. It needed a resto. It looked like it was an older refurb resto. But it was all there. It wasn't all rotted out. There was little tiny holes in the floor in one spot and another spot, but the rest was pretty good. That I don't mind. I don't want something that's mint, because I certainly can't afford it, but somewhere in the 4 to 8, somewhere in that range. Maybe in another couple of years they'll come down. I don't know. That's where it is now. That's if you want to drag something home. Because years ago, and Rob will tell you, that my Nova took, 5 cars, 6 cars, plus Chevy, Ford, Pontiac. I had the Mitsubishi Starion seats in it. Buick parts were in there. I don't want to be chasing that shit anymore. That was fun. But in those days, that stuff was around. It's not really around. And some of the fellows that I watch, like up in Canada or whatever, and some of the fellows, they've created their own junkyards, and they have access to junkyards of old crap that probably most of us would not keep, but they're rescuing. They have some more property. That's the other thing too. At one point, when I first started this channel, there was 5 cars and trucks just around. There was one in here, there was one in the garage, there were 3 or 4 outside, there was one out front, and there were the 3 in the driveway for the family. So I lost track. Plus parts, right? Tons of parts. So maybe, because small engine repairs. Yes, we were. Miss somebody says, I bet you miss. I know, I sure do. I do. But, we got to move forward. Because I missed the junkyards all around. You remember? Yeah, they were all around. Even it's not even here on the island anymore. There's no junkyards to go shopping in. Unless you're doing something more modern, which I'm not opposed to. I've had my feelers out. What I really want to spend my money on next is organizing the shop. And like Johnny Bravo, he's got some cool stuff in his shop. He's got the Atlas lathe. I saw one around here with tooling in the drawers in beautiful shape. I think the guy wanted like $1,500 or something, $2,000. I'm looking for stuff like that. I've seen Bridgeports, although that's too big for me. But there's some. Rob and I were talking about welders, and I was looking, and he says, why don't you get one of the all-in-ones? And I was looking at some of the brands that people like out there today and have these multi-function, multi-application welders. I'm thinking about tooling up more than and then I've desperately got to do the house siding on the house because my insurance, they keep dropping me. The mortgage company just dropped insurance again. I'm like, where am I going to find insurance for this house? I got to fix it. So I got to fix the shop. I got to fix a few other things. So cars are kind of like off the table. I'd rather work on the house, work on here, deal with the tooling. Where am I going to put it? Making some updates. I need like some other kind of shed or like a Quonset style hut for the yard that I can put more, product and stuff in. We'll focus on that first, He goes, Mike Hall is one of those Canadians with his own junkyard. Jap Hands is another. Yeah, and the other dude, Boneyard says, parts was easy to find back then. And Robert says, do a kit car, new and clean. I know we've talked about that in the past, but I don't know if I want to go down that route either. They're very expensive. But they are new and clean. That's for sure. And you can be very methodical, too, with a car like that. Like any kind of a kit car. But, like I said, I got to stay focused on what I'm doing. So I wanted to get to the next thing. So I got to that. Oh, yeah, and I just wanted to add on to that last, just to close out. Mikey, young Mikey, he does flips. So that is a little bit different. A lot of us are like mechanics or what have you. And Jason's really, he does do like repairs and stuff. As soon as you get into that, you really need a plan. You really need to stay to a plan. You need to have a discipline. Mike's discipline is, I don't know, like he sold a mower the other day. I don't know if he did sell. He probably did. He said he sold, there were two mowers. There were the green Lawn Boys with one had a Kohler on it. And he in the end, he spelled out. He's like, it starts, the choke doesn't work. So it starts with, you can squirt gas in it or ether, right? And he had it for sale. Straight up. He was very honest about it. He didn't want to fix it, and I don't blame him, because the problem with those Kohler engines is they have a divorced choke, and there's usually a vacuum unloader. But there's some different variations over the years, so you need to get the right parts. And, where it sits is the divorce choke sits on top of the muffler. It gets dirty and rusty, and then that stops working. Or sometimes the carb doesn't want to unload because the vacuum ports are blocked or the vacuum diaphragm isn't working. Some have it, some don't. I had one here where I think I showed you guys that somebody took it apart and then lost it's like a little lever, right, that's connected through a little linkage. They lost the linkage, That's Kohler, right? And Mikey didn't want to fix it. And same thing with some of these cars he gets, because he knows guys that, do the junk hauls and the car hauls and the estate closeouts and whatever, and they haul and stuff around. He sells a lot of those. And, it needs a door. The door is bashed. It doesn't start. The motor doesn't want to run. It starts, but it won't stay running. And, it's got a lot of miles on it. There's floor rot. Whatever's wrong with it, he doesn't list everything, but he'll take the biggest problem with it, and some of them are pretty decent. A couple of them I've wanted to buy. No title. There was one I liked. It was an 80s step side Ford with the 302 in it. In really nice shape, but there's no title. Okay? No keys, no title. Here's the price. And there could be other things wrong with some of these things, but it's like as is. Same thing with the mowers. There's no comebacks, no callbacks. No, I'm not going to fix your stuff. No, that's a different thing. I don't do that. I don't flip like that. All of my machines are done. And there's the price. And I'll write in the ad, I'm not flexible. I'll put in the ad, I'm like, firm. And people say, well, you take 120? It says firm in the ad. Oh, I know, you didn't read the ad. Yeah, that's right. Read the ad. It's only like a couple of words, but you couldn't read it. And they ask me this stuff again. It says it right in the title, bro. Can you not read the title? Oh, I just looked at it, click. I don't know, blind. What are you looking at? So as soon as you veer from like a one-word phrase, it's the same thing too with the titles on like YouTube and the videos and shit. If you get too deep into something, people will be like, it's a 2,000 mile. They won't watch it. I did one the other day. It was like 45 minutes. I'm like, oh, nobody's going to watch this thing. It's 45 minutes. I think I did the one, Johnny commented on something on the one I did with the air cannon. And he's like, oh, what about it? I said, I actually talked a little bit about that, but it wound up on the cutting room floor. It was already too long. I'm like, they really don't need to know this. And I've been trying to approach it that way. It's like, yeah, it's nice piece of information, but they don't care. They don't really know this. You don't get to have it. Cut, delete, right? That's another video. Cut it out, save it. Another video. They don't need to know this right now. Hold that back, right? You can go, you got to learn to do that. And I think with pate, it's a matter of the years burning into them, right? Feel the pain, right? You got to eat the pain. All right, let's move on to the next thing. Let's see. I miss somebody who goes, let's see something in the shop you were going to show. Yeah, we're going to get to that. We're all in the business of 50 to 75 will kill a deal quickly. Yeah, I know. You just a little bit, $20 can kill a deal. Hey, here's Maida. He goes, sorry, Arch. He goes, you're lost in my drawing. Yeah, you're lost in my drawing. What does that mean? I'm a little stupid, fellas. Things go right in my head. I wanted to show you guys. Let me think about where I am. Let's move this out of the way and put my headset on. So I wanted to show you guys. Hold on, let's see where we are. I wanted to see. Where are we in this? We can close this out. So I did the clouds. I will show you a little bit about the aftermarket carbs, but I think I want to show you something else first. So let me cue that up over here. So just to get out of the way, I wanted to show you guys what was kind of coming up. Coming up. Oh, wait do you see this? Wait do you see this one? Hold on. We're gonna just quickly go through this. I think this is pretty. So I could turn this mic on. We want desktop audio, maybe desktop audio. I'm going to run through it real quick. All right. Now, this is one I just finished, and this isn't even really the nice one. And I got to bring it back in for a little bit more work on the carb.
Boom. What do you want to do? Or this
Oh, there's pate in the background. This is while it was going on. I was shooting some footage for this, so you might hear Klaus and pate. I am Klaus! That's pretty. Let me back up a little bit. Hold on.
Yeah. But it's more like to cover my...
There he is! There's Jason. Cover his ass. I was mentioning on my outro...
For someone. And I know with me...
He's such a good looking... Here he is. He's still going on and on. He's still going on and on. It was me. She's so pretty. It's just a good looking machine. It's a push, a 22-inch. I put the heavier wheels on. Now, I showed some of this. This motor was, the original motor that was on it was the leaker. But unfortunately, because it leaked, and I had said this, well, I don't trust it. Because that one moment that comes when it doesn't get oil, it's no good anymore. And yup. You'll see it eventually when I release the video. I'll show the motor, the inside of the motor. But it was shot. But I have a lot of motors, so I want to show you guys the motors. So I didn't put it up for sale yet. I got to bring it in tomorrow for just a little tweakage. Yeah, you'll hear it. All right. In between the raindrops. Do 5. It took a little bit of pulling to get the prime up. Watch. I had to put some gas in it, too. Yeah, you gotta prime these good. Oh, it's still a little lean. Let warm up! Let warm up! Hear it? Now it starts, right? It's a little lean. Water in the tank. I put more fuel in it. Yeah. The way these tanks, they're weird. Now you'll hear it. See? Hear it? Yup. Yep. RPM's coming up. Let's see. Here's the mess in
All
my
right,
yard.
we're starting a lineup out here. So, this one I got on trade. That's the one I showed before. This one I just the guy gave it to me because I'm like, I can't give you any money for that. This guy, which is, yeah, you see in double, right? Similar problem. Mike wants to bring over another one of these. I don't know if it was the one he just bought he's having issue with. He also bought a Time Master, Turf Master, HDX. Got some issues, borked together, bungee corded together, strapped together, right? Or at least we're all together. All together now. Broken here. God knows what the hell's going on. This, the electrics, somebody ripped electrics off of it and like it, yeah, okay, it doesn't electric start anymore. I said to the guy, I can't give you anything for these. He says, it leaks all over on the bottom, but it still works good. Yeah, great, can't wait to have that. All right, I gotta go.
Oh, let me queue up the next thing. Let me queue up the next thing. Yeah, great, can't wait to have that. Yeah, and it's got a bag too, yeah. It is nice. Those are nice machines. Now, the other thing I mentioned in my outro, I'll set up for the next thing in a minute, but I mentioned in the outro, as I mentioned, one of the bikers, from building cars and everything, and Rob knows, you build cars and you get into some of this other stuff. I'm a machine head. I'm a motorhead, a machine head. The art form, to some degree, to me, is the machine. And the thing about motorcycles and the commonality, because I've had quads and mini bikes and go-karts, is when you look at the Tecumseh engine, especially that engine, you see everything. It's very simple. There's no shrouds or covers. The carburetor's right out there. The muffler's right out. The engine's right out. The hat is very slim and kind of sexy. It just looks good. The motor is right out there. And it's the same thing with a motorcycle, especially the older ones. Like now, with a lot of these bikes and the cars and everything, they have plastic. You open up the hood of a car today, and it's plastic for miles. Everything is just covered with some kind of fairing. You get fairings on these motorcycles. You don't see any of the machine. And to me, it's what I like about the Tecumseh, the look of the engine, especially the early ones, is you saw the machine. You saw the engine. And it's just a machine. That's a good looking machine to me. I like the color of the paint. It's kind of rich. It's durable. It's made well. I mean, the wheels are beefy. Like everything got like chintzy and covered in plastic. And, oh God, go away! That stuff is crap. It was crap from day one. Like that pressure washer. Like I said to the guy, I don't play with those really. I'm like, you could give it to me. I might noodle with it, but you can't make any money on those. The cost of the pump is basically what I could charge, for the whole machine running. And to find out that the pump is no good, I mean, sometimes what I'll do is when I get them, I'll stick the hose in without it running and just look to see, does it leak like a sieve? Because then it's cracked. But they usually just blow up anyway. So to find, if that's not the case, if it's not leaking all over, to find out that the pump is not any good anymore, you have to get the engine running. But the engine's almost never running, so you spend your time to get the engine running, and you wind up with a running engine that can only be used on a pump. With a pump. And it's a lawnmower style engine, so it's not all that great to begin with. And I showed him, I said, you see the output here, right? I mean, the input where the hose goes. I'm like, look at all that oxidation and gack. You see how you left it? I said, and then you left your hose connected. So all that water in the hose stayed there in the pump, probably froze. The crap was getting into the pump from the hose. The water is hard, obviously. It was left. It's all oxidized. I said, it's garbage, right? You ruined it. Oh, so those are the conversations I have with customers. He was a nice guy, actually. He was a nice guy. He knew me because his son was over here, because his son's a friend of my daughter's boyfriend, right? So, he's like, Big Mike, hi! What are you doing? He goes, what does he say? He says, well, good thing I think the chipper is a Tecumseh. Is a Tecumseh motor? Is it really? Is it a Briggs or a Tecumseh? Well, good thing I think the chipper is a Tecumseh. Because I like the Tecumseh motors. So let me show you. I dug out a whole bunch of stuff. Let me catch up with you guys real quick. A nice motor, Lewis says. Lewis says, yeah, that's my favorite. Yeah, somebody says, you got a bag too. Lewis says, that's my favorite motor. So, yeah, and they've been sitting for years, and the stuff is getting ruined. So even though I'm really busy and I'm getting bogged down, I'm like, if you don't dig this stuff out and put it in your way, like I can't finish the one for myself right now because I have other stuff to do, but I've been going through it. Like, they're just going to turn to trash. You already threw out a couple of them. Like, that's like one of my favorite ones to sell. So these are the late 90s, very early 2000s. But the ones after that are the Craftsmans, like the black ones. All right, when a lot of them came with Honda motors, brake motors. They were up to about 2010, I want to say. Those are also my favorite to sell. I don't want one. I do want the older green stuff. I have an Eager one for myself, which I'll show you in a minute. But I like selling those, and I like selling the black one's. So I think Boneyard's going to, he goes, going to take off. Have a good night, all. See you later, Boneyard. Robert goes, you guys likely have a harder time up north with pressure washers freezing over your cold winters. We don't face that a lot. Yes, that's the thing that people don't know. They don't seem to understand. The water freezes in them, and they wreck it. So let's see here. Here's the other part, right? Here's the other thing. Let me cue this up. We'll get away from this, and I'll get to the next thing.
All right, of course, the scab, right? It's like a scab of the skag. It's like the scab. So this is when I mentioned that now it has something wrong with the transmission. But I said these things are okay, but they're not meant for constant use. But they're nice, they're easy, they're lightweight, they fit a lot of these properties. We're going to bring this one in next. What's coming in next is that one.
That's actually older.
Runs, so I'm just going to kind of give it a quick tune-up.
It's not
We're
that
going to try to figure out what's going on with the transmission. He said even if it doesn't work, you know, as long as it works intermittently, we'll see from there. This is up next. That's Big Mike's. And where did I do it? Oh, yeah. This is the motor, the other motor. Because there's a motor laying on top of it. But then this classic, the 3.5. The classic.
That's a nice shape.
I've been oiling it.
Yeah.
I'm showing Mike. I'm like, I just dump oil on it. Get that cleaned up too. We're going to see. Probably that's what's going to wind up on Big Mike's cutter. All right. I got to go. Now I got to go.
Yeah. All right. I'm coming back. Let me set up the next one. 8-10 cameras. Let me set up the next one. Let's see here. I got to go. Oh, yeah. Let me show you this one. Let's see now. Is this it? Yeah. So motor extravaganza, right? Just to show you what's laying out. What I started laying out. Just a quick brief, you know. Just to spin around. Electric start. Okay. That's mine. I went over it. That's the one that's on that machine now. That green one I just showed you. That's another electric start. That's going to go on. One of these, I got to go through them. Plus the one I prepped out has got 100 PSI compression. That's the one that you just saw on that machine, which is running good, where I'm fitting the carburetor. And let me see. There's another one too around here. I think this motor, just to give you a quick look, I started testing it.
All right, that's on.
That's the motor on the machine that I was just showing you.
Because it's almost impossible to get in there with anything.
So putting the carb on it and everything, but we'll come backwards. And let me show you what I did. Let's see here. Is this what I want to show you? Yeah. What's the day I was outside? Yeah, here's the day I was outside. We'll rifle through it real quick.
All right, by the time I got around the whole thing with the brush, everything is almost dry. And you can see how nice it came. Now, there's a couple of spots. Drips, who cares? There's a couple of spots down in here. We're going to use the rattle can. And also down in there.
I acid treated it.
And then I got to get up underneath here. And I want to put a little bit here on this. So...
steel deck door there.
Let me just let it dry up a little bit more.
And,
yeah, it's almost
like
dry.
I said, all
I just
treated
a lot down in there.
And then I'm like, oh, let's try this. This can's been sitting around for like 10 years. All right, that's the motor. That was the leaker motor. Yeah, it's crap. It ran, but,
Spin it.
you know, when the guy dropped it off, I gave him credit for that mower. I gave him like $20 for it. That green mower.
You gotta be careful where I put
with this motor
the
in
light,
it, that leak.
because the camera will false focus. Yeah, all right.
All right, so I've started using this paint.
Oh, I'm liking that, fellas. So primed and painted, just a little
Yeah, use
tacky,
it up.
but and soft, but it doesn't have a lot of like a. It's not a semi-gloss.
Yeah, there's no gloss to it. What am I doing?
So this is something you want to be mindful of. You want to look at.
Oh, who cares? We'll get to that later. I'm just bench testing. Bench testing. We'll go through that another time. Just to look at the linkages. Bench testing. There we go.
Well, it's relatively nice out today, so.
Not
This
bad.
has been drying for a
No one
while.
will
I mean,
see
it's
it.
dry. I wouldn't say it's cured or hardened yet. You know, Rust-Oleum paints can take
blah, blah,
like
blah.
a month.
Let's see,
sometimes
where's the
even
next
more.
one? So that looks nice. Now, let's see. So bench testing, setting up. So here's where I was just kind of touching up the finish on this one. This is mine.
Well, that's a full first pass. And I'm going to come back in a couple of minutes. It's dry now. It's been a while.
That's mine.
15 minutes or so.
Electric
It's
start.
pretty dry.
So
Yeah.
let's get to the next day. I think I shoved it outside. Yeah. It's been drying outside. We had a nice week, so I just keep
Leave
leaving
it
it
out
to
for the
dry.
day or two. Yeah, I'm not working on it today. We got other things to do. But I just got dirt on it.
I know. It's,
Try to keep the dirt off of it.
for now.
At least for the next couple of hours.
Yeah.
You know, give it a.
Let's see. Is she pretty? It's a lawnmower arch. Yeah, I know, fellas, but you know what? Made in USA. They don't make them like this anymore. And here's the two bodies. See, the one on the right is the
before
push.
I move them out. No, I'll
That's
move
almost
this guy
ready
out
for
in the
sale.
sun. But this is the one we're going to be working with next.
Yeah.
The body's mint. This is the leaker, right? A leaker
Look at the body. It's mint
22
on
inch.
that thing.
And it's just beautiful. The motor was shot. That was the one where the motor was completely dead. And like I
Right,
said,
I put different tires on it.
leaking nice at it. But we'll focus our text. Remember, it's more like a plastic coat. It's not really paint, whereas this has a light layer of paint, both clear and color, on top of this is what was underneath. And you could see the general look at them. Looks great. I'm going to bring this one over in the
Yeah,
front
put
of
it
the
in the
shop
light.
because it's sunnier over there.
Like I said, it's been sitting out in the sun. It's all dry. And then I'll get to some of the other stuff, which is pressure washer related. So that's for another time. But I'm going through some pressure washer stuff. I got some tips and tricks coming. Let me come back. So I got some tips and tricks and stuff for pressure washers. I want to try to get that out real soon because it's the beginning of the year. And within the next couple of weeks, I want to get that out. It's just mostly like I bought a whole bunch of fittings and fooling around with different kinds of fittings and hose fittings and just different things, a pressure gauge and just kind of cool stuff like that. Let's see. JB was wanting, let's see. Yes, we have a harder time. Brett says, my pressure washer is stored in my house during the winter. Yeah, yep. In fact, it's in my kitchen, out of the way. Yes, in a proper location. Bravo goes, anybody heard from Robert Miles lately? Usually I get YouTube comments from him, but not quite a while. Bravo says, maybe he broke up with me. Right. You heard him, right? With words. Maida goes, he was in my chat Monday, so Maida's got him. Maida's got him locked down. All right. Bravo goes, oh, good, I was concerned. Lewis goes, Arch, I need to learn from you on a very organized shop, buddy. I know, and I want to do more organization. I think I put out that video last year in the summertime. I organized the shed. I didn't show you what I really did to the basement, which took me literally a month. My brother called me today. He was in the garage. His wife is a disaster. And she's got this like side Amazon business. And of course, everything's in the garage. So he's been trying to organize. I'm like, David, I just spent literally a month in the basement. Now the ladies are happy. But at first, they were like, why are you doing that? We got so many other things to do. And then, the things you don't do with women. It's like, it's taken me forever to learn. you don't, because I started to screw up. I started explaining myself, and I said to myself, "What the hell are you explaining yourself for?" Right? You don't explain yourself. They don't really want an explanation. You know what they wanted? This is what they wanted. They said, "Why are you doing it?" I said, "Because I'm doing it now. Because I said so. Because that's what I'm doing. I'm doing it now." And that was it. That's it. You know, they're like that. Like, they just, no. Here's the word. No. No. I said that today too. And Ken's, no is an answer. No. Are you going to do this? No. What part of no are you not understanding? Right? That's because I said so. Right? Bro goes, just went to let Darwin in. Got a bunch of deer in my backyard. Nice. Nice. All right. Let me get to, real quick, a little quick musical interlude while we're having fun. And, well, I'm having fun. All right. Hold on. This might be fun. We'll see. I'll shut up. All right. But I enjoyed this. One single guy.
I'm gonna use that as my wedding song.
Go out the door. Touch my cock no more. Oh God, that's so wrong on levels. Hold on, I'm coming back. Well, hopefully that gets stuck in your head later on, right? Just for fun. All right, let me get to the other thing I wanted to show you. Let's see, where are we now? The carburetors. I got to open up this other thing. I have to go find it. I didn't lay it out. The carburetors. Let me close this. Oh God, that's just so wrong. It's so true though. Hold on, I gotta minimize you guys for a minute. Yeah, the OBS. What is this doing up? All right, I can close that. I got that. And got that up. So I just wanted to show you real quick. I'm gonna find it. I've got a lot of videos here, fellas. Like too many. I'll back up. I'll just kind of back up through it all. Yeah, we'll go backwards. So let's see. I don't need two mics up. I'll kill that mic because it probably will echo. We need to shut you off. There's the mic so I can talk over it. And so I want to put all of these kind of carburetors and shit. And it's like, this is what you wind up with. All right, fellas, let's talk carburetors to see right that, but this is what we pulled off. And so my idea was... I just want to go through it quick. What can I use on... So you see on the right, all of these carburetors here? So all of these carburetors are going to mute it. They're from different, well, supposedly different companies. I don't know if they're from different manufacturers. That's what I want to find out. But as I was going through these, and I was measuring the jets, looking at what's inside of the kit, and the stuff that I bought, show off, what brand, what you kind of get. And I was measuring the jets. Excuse me, for that. Comes with one of these, be pretty decent. So this is just the first part. You take the footage to show the carburetor, what's in the kit, what the brand is. So I even picked up some of the HIPAA plugs. This is when I was sort of going through the two motors. One's, like I said, one's mine and one's for that other machine. Let me get through this. All right, go. There's the motor extravaganza. I mean, all these motors, and we can go on this. All right, explaining that. That's something, that's part of that. Let me zip through this. This back to the carburetors again. Because remember, I'm shooting, I shoot every day, like all day long. And I do different things because I've got different things going on. So I rebuilt one of the carburetors, and it worked well. So this is the carburetor I'm rebuilding, and I got a kit, partial kit. And I wanted to show you guys something else too about that kit issue. So these are the jets. They get cleaned in acetone, or I use lacquer thinner. Then they go in acid. Then I brush them a little bit, and that's how clean they are. So I measured all of the jets, and they're generally about 026, and some of them were smaller. Like some of the new aftermarket ones were smaller than 026. So pretty much all of the factory carburetors that I found here on the property, and there was a lot, there's a whole nother box which you're not seeing, they're all .026. The newer carburetors are not. They're 025, they're 0225, they're 023, 022, they're all over the place. And the motor I'm working on requires something smaller than the factory setting. Possibly because the way it's worn, the compression's a little bit lower. Like I said, things change. So that's what I'm putting in this video that I'm working on. It's not just a matter of you go buy a carburetor, you stick it on, problem solved, you know. It doesn't work like that. So here's where I'm actually measuring them out. And that's going to be a video coming up pretty soon. There was another thing I wanted to show you too. Now, in these rebuild kits, I want to show you that. So let me come out of here. Let me stop this. Minimize this. I got to go over to the web real fast. So here's the other problem I found. Let me put that up there. And so I'm like, all right, I need some rebuild kits. I want to like kind of organize my stuff. And just, you know, I want to know what I have. I want to throw out the garbage. I want to have some cheap rebuild kits. So I bought one of these kits. And now the Stens is Stens. I wanted to highlight this right here. Stens is $8 and change. It's a rebuild kit for one Tecumseh carburetor. Right? So to your door, only one left. So yeah, it was like 5 earlier today. I should buy this tonight. But I went and I wanted to get, I bought one of these other kits. And they all are the same. The problem is they're wrong. And here's another one. I think this is the Stens. No, Applin Par, whoever that, I can't even say the name. It's like a whole kit. That's wrong. That's too big. This is like a 190cc Briggs kit. And of course they'll call it rebuilt for Tecumseh. No, that's not correct. And I looked at all the others that were there. Like here's another one, and you get all these multiples. And when you look closer at them, they're wrong. They're all for Briggs. And I ordered one. I'm like, this is not for a Tecumseh. This is for Briggs. Coming back. So this is the other problem that we're having. You know, just because it says something doesn't mean it's going to solve your problem. It's very frustrating. And I can see why the average person, like homeowner or whatever, because I'm always beating up on the homeowner, but I'm not beating up on him right now. I'm just saying, like, you know, you would think somebody that's not, you even have to be into this. So many times I get stuff, one of those carburetors I bought, it was like $8. Now it's $16. It was on sale, like deep sale. Let's see, what is Mike sending me? So you think you're getting something and you're getting something else. And it's very frustrating. And it, you know, price so low. Love you, long time. Oh my God, what is this thing? Oh, is this the, so, well, good thing I think the chipper is a Tecumseh motor. All right, because it says right on it. Oh my God, it's like a mess. Yeah, of course, because it's a wood chipper. Yep, Tecumseh. Oh, good. That's interesting. Oh, I'd like to see that, Mike. That's kind of nice. Yeah, I like Tecumseh motors. I don't know why people beat up on them. I really don't understand it. You know, I don't know why. There's nothing wrong with them. They're good motors. You know, he goes, you will. He goes, you'll see it. Yeah. So like this week, you can see I have a lot of stuff I've got going on. I've been recording a lot of it. I got tons. I got the side projects I'm working on, and I want to get out some of the cool stuff that I got. Let me just show you this real quick. Hold on. Let me go get it.
coming. So I got the cat pump, on the pressure washer, and am I leaking? A little bit of water, but something's leaking. Some oil's leaking, either from the cat pump or from somewhere. I'll sort that out. But it's on. I got the Subaru engine all tuned up, it's running really good, and one of the things that I've wanted forever, because cleaning is really what my business is. Like, really, I don't really do repairs. Like, I do refurb, rustification, derustification, project-oriented. So I picked up one of these nice, the glycerin-filled gauge. They're not expensive, but, like, I needed one. So I'm like, well, what pressures do I like? And I want to sell contractor Mike one of my machines. I want to rebuild it. I want to rebuild the pump. It's an AR pump. I looked it up. That stuff is available. And I'm like, I really need to test these things. And I also, for myself, I want to know what pressures I like. Because I've been talking about that. I'm like, on some of the engines, like I just showed you all those engines, I don't need 3,000 PSI on that motor. And I like to use the Roto, ripper on the end of my wands. But I don't need a lot of pressure, and I don't really always want to use like a wide fan to try to lower the pressure, because even if the pump is cranking away and you have a lot of pressure, that only changes the pressure a little. So I went through this whole thing where I started mapping out what I set the correct RPM, because all of these pumps are 3,400 RPM. My Subaru was going up to 3,600. Okay, that's a problem, right? There's no need for it to be running that high. It's bad for the pump. Bad for the motor. Let's fix that. What pressure do I have now, right? What's my pressure range? It doesn't drop a lot from 3,600 to 3,400. In fact, when you even drop the motor RPM down a little bit more on the cat pump, I had set it to around 1,000 PSI. Because I'm like, 1,000 PSI, this feels really nice for washing the motors, washing off some of the decks, anything that doesn't require, like a real fouled condition or whatever, where I need more pressure. Like, what is the lower pressure that I like? 1,000 PSI. And if I drop the RPMs down a little bit more or raise it up a little bit more on the cat, the unloader takes care of it. It will try always to maintain 1,000 PSI. And that's in part because I haven't really dropped the RPM down all that much. I'm just kind of going back and forth. I'm measuring it. I'm showing it on a video. And then next time I go out there, I think, like Mike's machine, I don't need 2,000 PSI to wash his machine. That'll kill it. There's a belt in there. There's bearings in there. I don't want to permeate water and saturate a bearing, on an idler or something like that. You don't always want that. And so I'm like, all right, I think I know what pressure I like now. And I can always set these things now. Once I know, I can always return them to whatever I like on this gauge. So if I want to defoul a really bad deck, is 2,000 what I want? I don't know, let's find out. If I like it, I'm like, okay, 2,000 is. And the Subaru is so nice because I can drop those RPMs. The motor doesn't strain. It's not loud. It's not a loud engine to begin with. It has a nice low rumble to it. To me, it's like pleasing. To listen to that, because it's running all day on and off. And that's the one advantage that electrics have, because as soon as you let go of the handle, it's quiet. I could see like neighbors, and even just myself, I don't want to listen to this crap. I love the sound of engines and everything, but at some point, like when they work in the field in the back in the cemetery and everything, that's like a day. And they could be back there just working one area, and I want to record, and all you hear is, and this just goes on and on and on. We want to get things under control a little bit, you know what I'm saying? All right, let me see where we are. What time is it? All right, hour 26 minutes. All right, let me catch up with you guys, and we'll get out of here. Let me see what you guys are doing. Because they set up, he goes, oh, that's cool. Brother goes, I set up a trail cam in my bedroom, recorded what Darwin does, 4:30 to 5 in the morning, and wake me up. So I get up and let the furry butt out. Yeah, I think Brett sent me some video of that. He was trying to figure out what his cat was doing. He sent me a video of like cat nightlife. Yeah, Michael, when I get up to go to the bathroom, my cat comes in and rubs up against me and shit, rubs up against my legs and stuff to say hi. But she's about ready to pop too.
So we're going to have little children cats, and I don't seem to have any issues with my allergies. Like, I try to like pet her and then rub my eyes a little bit just to inoculate myself a little bit more. I don't have the allergies I used to have. But she doesn't, she comes in my room, but she doesn't stay there. And she's such a good cat. She's a good cat. And she goes, yeah. He goes, I posted that video on my Facebook page. Everybody told me to get rid of that cat. Why? Yeah, no, 4:35 in the morning. That's Christina basically, or the ex. She'll wake up the girls because they want to eat. Well, that's what they know. Love the sound of my Simpson Honda GX200. Yeah, I think that's what's on my big pressure washer. The one with the heated tank and everything, the steam Jenny. That I got to get to. He goes, you need to name one of those kittens, Archie. I don't know what I'm going to name. They're not really mine unless it becomes like a shop cat. Unless one of them become a shop cat. I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing because the doors are open and cats can get through anything, and I don't really need that. Maida goes, Arch, I'm installing more of the LED lights in the other garage and cleaning up for my new toy coming in Wednesday. Good. You got to get to that, bro. If anybody needs anything from Amazon, from China, you better get it now, all right? Because the shipments are like stopping from China. It's going to be a while. There's that trade war that Trump is trying for, and what's good? The good news is more recently they were over there, in India or whatever, and they were trying to work out a trade deal over there. And on the other end of that is what it's China was trying to get in there and make deals with them, and they didn't want it. Those countries are not too favorable to that. They want to deal with us, and they have some good stuff there. Have you ever seen some of the shit that, there's videos and stuff of those people over in like India and Pakistan and places like that where they work on the ground, but they make some really great shit and they refurb all kinds of stuff. They're on the come up, big time on the come up. And China wanted to work out something with them, but China wants everything like in the Asian Pacific Rim with like Korea and Singapore and all these other countries, these smaller countries. That's how they got around a lot of these earlier trade deals and stuff from tariffs from other administrations, because they're not selling from China. They're selling through those, and they try to take over because China takes over everything. But the Indians didn't want that. So, because they want it for themselves. So because we may be dealing with them a little bit more now, China is now having to reflect. And they're saying, well, if I was making $1 billion now, maybe I'm going to wind up with $1 billion or maybe 750, million, or I don't know, whatever the number is, whatever the imbalance was, it'll come down, but they'll give in and they can save face. But what it's been doing though is it's just like with COVID, it's stopped. You stop the shipments in that supply line, it takes 30, 40 days if you have everything ready to go and ship it. So what we're living off of right now is inventory here. What's here. So anything that you're buying that came from any of those Malaysian countries or whatever, it's not going to be replenished. And they may even offer some deals just to move the inventory to get rid of it. But then after that, we could have a good month or two where good luck getting that stuff and good luck getting it cheap. So, get what you need. He goes, I love the LED lights in my garage, but sometimes the camera doesn't sync well with them. They strobe or flash. Yeah, maybe pulse is a better word. Yeah, like this one. So now this is full, right? And it's not that bad. See it? Now you see it. And now one of the ways around that is you can change the camera frame rate, but I'm not doing that. All right, because I have things set at specific frame rates for effing reason. I'm not going to change it. The LED lights that I got from Florida, the ones that are made, I think they're made here. That company I was talking about, I have that video on it. I'm going to get some more because I got to get up there and do that side. I do have some to finish one more fixture installation, but if one burns out, I don't have any extras. And if you get the cheap ones, they're no good. So don't buy the cheap Chinese ones, get the better ones. They make some. And then you can also get, by the way, just to get you out of here on this, Neewer and some of the others, let me show you. Hold on.
I'll get this and I'll get you out of here. Now, for work light is one thing. But for those of us that want to put a camera, to something, you don't want pulsing and fluttering and flickering. So this is a cheap Neewer that I rigged up. So it's got a clamp on it. This clamp will go on a rod or one of my stands, camera stands or whatever. On the back, they come different ways. You can even get a filter. You can put a filter on it, a lens protector. Also, the filters come in different colors. So if you want like a different tonality of light, this is just the standard dispersion, right? Scatter the light a bit. I happen to like to use these batteries. These are the Sony style camcorder batteries. They're very nice. And this unit is adjustable, right? So the thing in the back, right? I can turn it up or down, get it brighter. And also it's got, I think it's 12 volt, 9 volt, maybe 9 to 12 volt. I always forget. Oh, let me see. So you can plug it in as well. And it's, it ranges. It accepts 6.5 to 17 volt. I think it ranges. Yeah, 6.5 to 17 volt. 11 watts max. You can get, this is cheap. You can get the bigger ones. You can get the smaller ones, right? But the bigger ones, it also has a shoe on it down here. So it's got a coupling where I could just put it on the camera shoe over here. This is a shoe, a multi-way adapter, another adapter, dual action clamp. It's adjustable. They sell the bigger ones. So those make really good work lights to work up an area. So if you just have like good general lighting, but the camera needs more light, and maybe you want a little bit more light on your work surface, use a camera light. And these are really cheap. The bigger ones, Neewer and other companies make them. Some of the nicer ones they use a lot more power. Some of them are in metal cases. They're much bigger. They might require a separate stand or something that you can put it on, and they'll adjustable as well. They also some change colors through the LEDs. And they're really nice because you can light up an area. You don't need to put in more fixtures. You just need a little bit more light on the project you're working on, and they don't flicker. They're for cameras, and video cameras and photography and production, and as long as you don't drop it. I mean, they're not for shoving underneath the car or the truck. You could. I had one like that. I bought one from Eastwood, and it died. They weren't made very well in the early days. And we had all this rubber around it, a gigantic thing. And I'm like, oh, this would be great. And then I killed it. It was like $125. And I killed it almost immediately. I'm like, this is crap. All right, fellas, I'm out of here. I think we've been over an hour and a half. So he goes, my shop lighting doesn't pulse at all. You see it in my shop tour video. Yeah, but they're way up there. And, that's still, if you want to work on something, they're shadowing. So it's nice to have that, but you're not doing a lot of videos in your shop. A lot of the stuff that I work on, I've got plenty of light in here for me, but what you see is shadowing. So if you're working on a motor and the light's coming down from up top and there's an area on the motor and your camera here, this area here is shadowed. That area might be shadowed. This area, you don't really know. So as you go to move the camera around, if you want to fixate your camera on something, especially something that's big, you're going to have shadowing. And if you're working in something like the body of a mower or of a bigger machine or to the side or underneath, that light's not helping. It's not doing anything. So you need more light in that work area. And even for yourself, right? But you're not really, your shop is nice and all, but you're not really filming a lot in there and you're not showing stuff constantly. You would see these problems right away, and you need supplemental lighting. And especially for some of these cheaper cameras, like indoors, if somebody's using a GoPro, it's horrible. In fact, I was watching some older Watch West work from like 3 years ago. Before he got a newer camera, he went back to a GoPro. Everything was dark.
Everything was dark. Everything that he was doing was dark. And then he had to get some different lighting. And then eventually he upgraded his camera again. And you see some of the lights he has around. He has like the bigger variants of these laying around now. But they're expensive. You know? He goes, I need one of those lights. He goes, they look like it's a ticket. It really is a ticket. It's very good light. And it's not going to flicker. And it's like, and Lewis knows, because if you're using a GoPro and you're sticking it in between a snow blower or a snow machine or an ATV, and it's shadowed and it's getting dark. And then the other problem too is you'll, with lights that are not really adjustable, you'll overpower the camera, and shiny stuff starts reflecting light, and then the camera, it's something called dynamic range. So these cheaper cameras, including cell phones, they have very limited dynamic range. Essentially, that's a difference between the darkest thing in the shot and the brightest thing in the shot. And almost everything we're looking at is like aluminum and shiny, and there might be chrome or whatever. So it starts bouncing the light back at the camera. The camera tries to adjust, ignoring the fact that the darker area, it cannot be seen any longer, even though you're trying to put light on it. Yeah, and you're trying to show your best possible shot, and people going, I can't see it. I don't know what the hell you're doing. Yep. And Brett goes, he goes, I love my OLED flashlight, no flicker. Yeah, that's nice to have, even on the video. But sometimes that's not enough, because those tend to be very point of source. So when you have like this has got a big diffuser on it. The bigger ones have even bigger diffusers. When you start going to lights like this, the one that's over there, this is point of source light. And even though like this one doesn't flicker all the time, or some of the other ones over there, like this one doesn't flicker, but they're very point of source, like, you know, they're not diffused. So the cameras don't like that. Cell phones don't like that. The cheaper cameras don't like that, because you see that point of source, and you can tell it's coming from a flashlight. Meanwhile, it's reflecting back, and the rest is dark. So it may not flicker. It's a lot of problems you run into. You see it after a while when you do enough of it, and enough hours of shooting in weird positions and it just weird context, and that's when you see it. Some of the easiest way to light something is outside, but the problem with outside is shadows. Tons of shadows. And if you move the camera, even though like a lot of people are shooting in automatic, you get the same problem, except the light source is so powerful that even if you try to put another light source on it, you're outside, and now you don't have enough candle power to overcome the brightness of the environment that you're in, that the camera is reacting to. So now you have a compounded issue. And I see it on some people's videos. I'm like, yeah, it's glaring at me, and, you know, or they have the camera in the wrong spot, and there's light from behind them, and they're sitting here, and there's light behind them, and you're looking at them, and you see this halo. Their face is dark. You can't really tell. There's this thing glaring at you the whole time. It's like this, right? It's like the light is back here. Yeah, don't do that if you got a light behind you. The light is back here. The sun's coming in, and they're like, oh, what's up, Ken? I'm on your live show now. How do I look? Do I look good? No, bro, you've got an effing light behind you, and we can see it. You know, you can do like a hair light or something like that. You have to turn it down a lot. They do that in portrait. They do a hair light thing. They have it way up high, but it has to be very diffused. But you see what it's doing? All right? It's making it look weird and smoky, and, well, it probably is a little smoky in here, but still, it doesn't look right. So, yeah, light is hard. Even for some of the best automatic cameras, it's a pain in the ass. So you need like different solutions. You need to know how to work around it, or the video just looks weird. Yeah, Lewis goes, yeah, he goes, I have so much trouble. Everybody does. And that's not a new thing. Even the pros, right? They talk about it constantly. Like the thing that they talk about most is light and lighting. That's why in like shows and productions, you have separate people that handle that, lighting directors and stuff. And if there's ever an issue, you call the light, Mark, you gotta fix the light again. Oh, it's not right. Well, you moved your camera. That's right, I moved my camera. We need the light people back. Yeah, because, you know, if you're doing a shoot, you need to know what the hell's going on with the light. It's not easy. Oh, yeah. Remember years ago, with film and everything? Oh, my God. What a nightmare. I mean, you really had to know. And the professionals really had to know, because you shot what was in the can. If you got it wrong, were you going to reshoot it? You had to develop it to find out. Yeah, and sound, yep. Yeah, Brett says, yeah, his garage is like a gymnasium. Yeah, that's right, it is. So you got the good overall light, and then you just need supplemental problem-solving light, which is really all you need, Lewis. And the sound, yeah, yep. So like the sound here, like this, I don't really know how this sounds yet, because this is a test for tonight. And honestly, I should have this one off. It's kind of like two inputs of the same inputs. This should be correct, but this mic is not really correct for what we do. Like I said earlier, most people have a mic closer to them. They're using a different kind of a mic. It could be a condenser. It could be a dynamic. It doesn't matter, but it's made to reject all the sound except for what's literally like right in front of it. But that's a pain in the neck, you know, and I don't like that. This kind of provides some echo. I got that new Vivor cloth that's going to hang up over there, you know, in the wintertime, or even sometimes during the spring and summer. I'll probably use it now because it'll block light coming in. I have light that comes in from the transom windows. I have to go up there and shove a blind of some kind up there to stop it from shining through. At the wrong time of the day, it's a disaster. The light is scattering all over the place. The sound is scattering all over the place. Sometimes the sound bounces off that metal table if there isn't anything on it. And if there isn't a lot on it, the sound will bounce off of it, and I sound hollow. The other problem I have is, and I've been noticing this more, and it's really bothering me, this light that's over there is still fluorescent. It's one of the ones that I'm slated to put LED. It's got to go to LED, because I put a boom on this mic because it can pick up me on the other side of the room, except it's also picking up the transformer sound, the sound of the 60 hertz. And even though there's a bass cut on it, you know, a high frequency bias, I still hear it. And then if I remove it in edit, it makes me sound more nasally and what have you, because I got a big nose. So it affects the sound of my voice because I'm trying to digitally get it out. Because I mean, the other day, like I turned the segment on, and I'm watching it here, and before I could walk around and start talking, you hear, and then I start talking, and then the automatic gain control sort of kicks in, and the filter sort of kicks in, and then it gets a little bit lower, but you still hear it. It's like this constant. I'll fix it when I can, you know. And I can only move the mic to a few locations because no matter where I put it, even though like that light happens to be the lowest one and it just happens to be in a great spot for me, but it's in a terrible spot for the mic, I could move the mic over to there on the other side of the table, but there's also a fluorescent light over there. So a lot of times I take the mic off of that stand, I bring everything closer, and sometimes I use the camera mic. So this is the camera mic. I think you can hear it if I do this. Hold on. Check 1, 2. Yeah. This is the camera mic, I believe. I think. Which is all the way over there. And that's the two of them, which might pick up, but predominantly this is... Check. This should be it. Let's test it. Because I don't really know, right? Because I'm experimenting. Before I get out of here, I'm going to shut it off. Yeah, that's it. All right. So this has got a little switch on it here. And that's actually on a bass cut. This is the mic in normal mode, and then this mic has an extra couple features. This is a negative 10 dB cut right here, so that's a negative 10 dB cut, which is nice I should use this during the lives because it would make things a lot easier because the mic is closer. And this is a 0. So that's at 0, right? 0, no cut. And then it has a 12 dB plus, which probably is making it boom right now. So let's put it to 0. Let's go back to a -10 and just leave it there as I sign off. So it's very versatile, but you got to know when to use it and you got to test it. Which means you're going to be wasting some time. You know, you'll have to put some time into it and fool around a little bit. Yeah, that might be good. And it's less likely to overmodulate, and I can still bring it a little bit closer if I want to be an idiot and say stupid stuff like, you know, when I want to say stupid stuff. So I might just leave it like that and see, you know, how the next live show goes with a little bit of a cut. Because it's on the switch. So I'll reset it probably when I have to remember to reset it. No, it's not. I'll have to remember to reset it. Because if I forget, I always try to check my sound levels. Because if I touch something here on a live show and then I want to record something locally to this system for a video segment, I got to check everything. And if I don't, I screw myself. Because if I start recording and I'm not realizing that I changed something or something's not right, I'm like, what the hell did I do? I just wasted all that time. And I tend not to do retakes because I'm trying to fix something, you know? I'm not sitting here trying to play Mr. Studio Man, you know? I mean, that's nice and all. Like, oh, hey, Wes. Oh, we're out of here, Wes. And Josh, too. He's like, got a voice changer. That's fun. Yeah, right? He goes, wireless seemed the way to go. The wireless is nice. The problem with the wireless is talk time. That's your biggest issue, you know? Wes says, pulling the hub on the left side of my 92 Snapper Rider, ending in me grinding it off. Really? Yeah, that's one of the things I got to do soon. Actually, because I want to finish up. I've got the seals to put in, the axle seals, and I want to put the boots on. So I want to rip all of that off this year. I don't know when, but I want to get it all off, go through it all. It's all working good. And then I was going to do it. And I'm like, you know what? I want to use this thing. I remember, what was it Ken saying to me? He goes, yeah, mine, the whole accordion thing is missing. He goes, I don't care. I just like to use it. I'm like, you know what? I have all the new accordion and the seals and everything, but I don't have the time to do it. I'm like, I'll go with what you say. I'm going to just use it and just kind of try to keep it clean and keep it lubricated and not use it too much. I know I'm going to wear it, but it's not going to get a lot of wear. It's all lubed. It's all working. I don't use it every time I cut, but there are times when I get tired. I want to just sit on the snapper and go cruising around, you know, and cut my lawn, you know. You can't get everything. He goes, yeah, and getting it hospital clean. Yup. Yeah, that's what happens. You got to get it really nice and clean. And if, by the way, if you're grinding, all that grinding dust, you got to get rid of it, and the metal and the junk everywhere. I feel you, brother. I hope mine all comes apart. That was the other reason why everything was so jammed. Once I got it freed up and I was using the machine and working on other stuff on the machine, I'm like, boy, when I come back to this, I just hope it cooperates with me. You know, I don't have to start grinding and cutting, and hopefully this all comes apart. And hopefully, I'd rather see it a little tight than like really loose where you go to take it apart, it's like falling apart. And you're like, oh crap, I got to replace all this shit. What a horror. They're fun though. But yeah, lots to do. I got a lot of stuff going on. This should be a video, something for everybody, you know, in whatever I do over the next couple of months. Because it's going to be some how-to, it's going to be some repairs, and it's going to be some of the restifications and the restos, motors, chassis, projects, tips and tricks. I don't even know where I'm going to find the time to do all the videos, because the work is easy. It's the videos that are hard. No shit. You know, at least for me. And then I got to watch myself, which is horrible. You guys only have to watch me once. I got to watch through this stuff and cut a lot of crap out. I'm like, F that. What's the time? Where are we at? We're at, what, 35 minutes? You got to go. You got to go. I'm actually enjoying that now, you know. Let's see. Let's see if you guys straighten that. Yeah, how about straightening a crankshaft? No, I don't like doing that. Only because I'm spoiled. Because I have a lot of other motors. So, it's like I was saying, like if I go to pull off a motor and one of the bolts that holds the motor in breaks in the ear, I won't fix it. At least not right now. I'm not against it. I won't do it. I'll go look for another motor. I'll use it for parts. And he goes, West goes, Chef. Bud goes, hey, sir. Lewis says, have a wonderful night, brother. Arch. I appreciate you, buddy. Good night to everyone. Yep, I'm out of here, too. He goes, yeah, I bet it's hard. Well, it's always hard. It's always hard for me. I'll see you guys later.